We were just joking before we turned the camera on of the chutzpah. One of the jokey definitions of chutzpah is, and it's a little bit dark, it's someone who murders their parents and then asks the judge for mercy because he's an orphan now. I think that kind of chutzpah applies to the BC government running to court. Tell our viewers, what's their argument for why they say a court should stop Jason Kenney from turning off the taps to BC?
So the day that the Alberta cabinet was sworn in, the new Alberta cabinet was sworn in, and then immediately proclaimed the turn off the taps law, the BC government went into apoplexy and rushed to court and said, you can't do this because the Constitution prevents you from restricting the flow of refined goods across provincial boundaries. Well, it works for refined goods. It also works for unrefined goods. There is nothing in the Constitution that separates refined from unrefined. And the argument that the BC government is making is it can be used against them just as readily, that they are blocking the interprovincial trade of goods, bitumen coming down a pipeline. And so I think this is hilarious. I say, let them come, let them make this argument, because it's just going to be fun to watch it then turned around and used on them.
Yeah, well, it'll be a test on whether or not, just how political our courts are. I've learned from my observations of any political case is that judges will find a way to finesse the outcome that they want, and they'll give it legal backing.
They can, yes. They can.
I mean, it is a bit of chutzpah for BC to say, don't turn off the taps, because John Horgan, the Premier, was panicked that would cause the price of gasoline that's already around $2 to go even higher. On the other hand, go ahead.
There's $1.80 there on April 30th, and the estimate from a person I talked to inside the Alberta government is because we supply them with 55 to 70% of their gasoline and diesel in BC, the price would go to at minimum $2.20 and probably as high as close to $3. And yes, over time they could arrange for some trains to bring in more from the States or more trucks to bring it in, but for 2, 4, 6 weeks, it would be really, really tight in BC. And earlier, when they brought a court application against the turn off the taps bill, so the NDP introduced it last year, passed it last year, but didn't proclaim it. And in that process, BC went to court then, and some of the documents they provided then said there would be civil unrest in BC if Alberta turned. Great, let's have a little civil unrest.
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day I do a video monologue, and then I interview an interesting guest, and then I end by reading my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.